And we move on now to what should be the most popular part of this topic, given how much British people seem to love to talk about the weather. We like to chat about it all the time. In fact, this survey said that we'll be spending up to 4 hours non-stop of our lives talking about the weather, making small chats with people around us. We're going to get you to be able to talk about the weather properly, though, not just as a bit of small chat, but to talk about what's actually happening in the weather as we experience it. Now, the spec asks us to take a look at these aspects of the weather. Let me just get my drawing tools ready for this again. So we've got to take a look at two things, a frontal depression and an anticyclone. So these are known as our weather systems. And there are two of them. There is, as it says there, your depression, and secondly, your anticyclone. There it is there. And you can see that the spec identifies a number of things for us to look at. The patterns that you've got there, the sequence of change, and a frontal depression, different parts of it. Yeah, that's my neighbour's sports car just arriving in. There's the warm sector and the cold front. And then the weather patterns again, the pattern with anticyclones only this time is winter and summer. Now, a number of little subsections there, so we're going to have a number of videos to bring us through this. But the key thing to note at first is you've got your depression and you've got your anticyclone. So let's start off with your depression. And we start off by reminding ourselves of some things that we learned in the last section of these air masses that are meeting around about 55 degrees north where we live. You've got your TM air mass, which is coming up from the southwest, which is a moist but mild air mass. And then you've got your PM air mass coming from the northwest, which is a moist but cold air mass. Now, the crucial thing with these air masses is that when they meet, they don't mix, and this front forms between them. Because of the rotation of the Earth, that then organizes itself into this rotation pattern here. I'll just draw these on. Tends to rotate around a center like so, and the front forms a little wedge in them like that. In fact, no, I don't really like that. Let me draw that line again. Straighter line. Oh, I can't draw that line straight. Third time lucky. Come on, let's do it. There we go. So anything below that depression is your warm, anything below the front is your warm TM air. Just shade that in, do you see? That's your TM air. And anything above the front is your colder PM air. So that then brings us over here to our depression, and in the depression we have a warm front, and the warm front is marked or characterized by semicircles, often red. Then we have here the cold front, and it is marked by triangles, which are often blue. And in between the two, then you've got your warm sector. So those are your different sections of your depression. You start off here with your cold PM air, then you've got a warm front, then you've got your milder TM air, then you've got your cold front, then you've got your colder PM air again. If we take a look at this, hopefully you can see that in operation. Let me just get my pen set up here. I'm going to go for a slightly thicker line. Coming down here from the northwest, you have got your PM air. Coming up from the southwest, you've got your TM air. But if you look in between them, you'll see that they don't mix. There's a very, very definite line in between them. And that very line, I'll just draw this on now, is your front, comes up here like so, and back down here like so. Anything to the south of the front is your TMR. Just draw the rest of that in as it organises itself into this kind of circulation. And thankfully you can see here quite nicely the wind directions drawn on, and here it circulates back up. Here that's your PMR, and back down here that's your PMR again. And what you have here get this, is your warm front. And what you have here is your cold front, and what you have in the middle is your warm sector. Now that brings us to this bit that is in your notes, so we can fill this bit in here. Here is your warm front. Here is your warm sector. And at the back, you've got your cold front. And we can draw those fronts onto this map here. This is a satellite image and behind, and I've said to you before that anywhere there you've got a line of cloud, that's probably a front. There's a front there, and there's a line of cloud. There are curls around into the centre, there are curls around into the centre there. I should also say, just in passing, that's called an occluded front. You may see those on your maps, but you don't need to know about those for GCSE. It's hooking into the centre, and there's the cloud there. So I can draw on my weather fronts here. In fact, let me go for a thicker line, shall we, so that they stand out a little bit better for you. So here we go. There, and there, and this is your warm front, and this is your cold front. So the key thing with that to understand, when you see this is the final pattern: warm front, warm sector, cold front. It all started from this, where the TM air coming from the southwest meets PM air from the northwest. They don't mix, the front forms, and that organises itself into this rotation where everything below the front is TM air, everything above it is your PM air.